Should you buy a Nintendo Switch or a Nintendo 3DS, or I guess 2DS in this case? Both of these systems have their pros and they have their cons. So in today's video, we're going over a couple reasons why you may either want to buy a 2DS or 3DS or some member of the 3DS line or a Nintendo Switch. Welcome to Stuff We Play, home of everything weird and retro. And if that sounds cool to you, why not subscribe? And today we're finally beginning something that I'm formally calling Switch Sunday, which is a segment where I talk about something related to the Nintendo Switch. I can't guarantee it happening every Sunday, but I can guarantee it happening on a Sunday. And today we're talking about the Switch versus 2DS. So let's go on right in there and talk about the most important things between these two consoles, or really the most important thing with any console, the games. Let's start with the 2DS. So I'm going to go ahead and switch that off. Now, I have the 2DS here, but this isn't the only 3DS I own. I own a launch model 3DS and a 3DS XL. I unfortunately don't own any of the new 3DS line. What type of games can you get on the 2DS? You can get a wide variety of games, from your Marios to your Pokemons, and some amazing Pokemons. You have all of Gen 4, Gen 5, Gen 6, and Gen 7 playable on here. You have lots of games you wouldn't expect, since it's Persona Q. Even some games that only work with specific models of the 3DS, like Xenoblade Chronicles 3D, and we'll get into those in a bit. Also note is the eShop. The eShop's fantastic. Lots of really cheap downloadable only titles. However, the eShop is also available on the Nintendo Switch, and a lot of the eShop titles on 3DS, some of the best ones such as Mighty Gunvolt Burst and Blaster Master Zero, are also available on the Switch. But what the Switch does not currently have is the Virtual Console. If you've been looking at my screen, you'd be noticing that I have Pokemon Silver playing on here. You can get Pokemon Red, Blue, Gold, all of these games. You have the Mario Land games, you have Metroid 2, and also the remake of Metroid 2. So many great games. And then from there, you also have backwards compatibility with their original DS. You can play every single DS game ever released, as long as it doesn't require the DS's Game Boy Advance cartridge slot. There are some games that are new 3DS exclusive. Yes, when they made the beefed up, I guess the PS4 Pro of 3DSs, they called it the new 3DS. That's so annoying. So it's like, I want a new 2DS. Well, alright, do you want a new 2DS, like one of these, or do you want a new 2DS? But then the thing is too, some Virtual Console titles are only available on the new 3DS, like Super Nintendo games. If this thing can play Pokemon Sun and Moon, I'm pretty sure it can play Mega Man X. Like, that's very dumb. Now, there is one last thing I need to mention about the 3DS games before we get into the Switch library, and that's that Nintendo says they're still supporting it for the next couple years. However, know that within a year or two, this thing's going to be on the way out. 2DS, great library, and it's actually much more expansive for the 2DS and 3DS lines than on the Switch. However, I could imagine that the Switch's library would be a lot smaller, because this thing only came out in March. And despite not having a Virtual Console, it has a very great library. And this is Nintendo's new main focus, or at least they say they would. It's such a great console. I really love the games that are coming out for this. First off, there's AAA titles. I have Disgaea 5 in here right now, great RPG. But then of course you have your Mario Karts, and you have your Zeldas, and you're getting Skyrim, and you're getting Doom. And Nintendo often talks of it as it's a home console that you can take portably. Think of this as a handheld that can play the same type of games you'd find on, say, a PS4. This is a portable offering that's $400 admittedly up here in Canada. This can play all the great new games coming out. You have Splatoon 2, you have Super Mario Odyssey, and the way I'm looking at that game kind of gives me that feeling of when I played Super Mario 64 as a kid. It really was bringing me back. Now, the eShop here is great, and yes, I said a lot of the great 3DS eShop games are getting ported here. Granted, that's pretty smart. However, there are a lot of great exclusive games. I've talked about Comico before, and there's constantly new stuff on here. And while it has a smaller library, you have games that overall have more production values. Granted, there is some crap on here, like Kroll and I comes to mind. Watch Sean Long, RGT85's review on it. I guess that really didn't decide anything. Both of these have great libraries. If you want the new, latest and greatest AAA titles, this is your thing. However, if you want something that already has a massive backlog of games stretching back to 2005, get a 3DS, or more specifically, even though there's some new 3DS exclusive games, pick up a 2DS. They're like 50 bucks used. I said there were a couple things we're talking about though. So aside with the games, we need to also talk about the price of these consoles. So I mentioned these are like 50 bucks used. In the US, these are 80 new. I think they're 100 new in Canada. Here's the thing about the 2DS and why I also really like this if we're talking price. That 100 bucks doesn't just get you the console, but it also comes with a game pre-installed. Most I've seen come with Mario Kart 7. Mine has Yokai Watch. Really great bundles. The problem is though, with a lot of the newer 3DS models, like the new 3DS XL, I think was like 200 bucks at launch up here, and it didn't even come with a charger. I think that's kind of a load of shit, to be honest. However, the Switch also doesn't have a bundle yet, and no bundles yet. It's 400 for just the system, and it comes, system and of course 2 Joy-Con controllers and the Joy-Con grip. However, that's changing soon. If you hold out on buying a Switch, which is likely because nowhere seems to be able to keep it in stock, and I only got mine because of pure luck, you'll have your choice of either getting the Splatoon 2 bundle, which comes with these really cool green and pink Joy-Cons, or what looks even cooler, the Super Mario Odyssey bundle. If you want something that's cheap and economical to get, but still has a great install base, you could probably get a 2DS used with a really great game or two. Like, I'll probably run you like 80 bucks. So what I'm saying is that overall, if you want the latest and greatest and to play all the great new AAA titles, the Switch is your thing. But if you want something cheap, but you still want to get in some Nintendo gaming action, and you want to have something that's still getting new games for the next couple years, get the 2DS. You'll be able to find these pretty much everywhere, unlike the Switch, which is still selling out everywhere. You're probably better off getting a 2DS or 3DS. But you know what? That's just my opinion. So with that, leave your opinions on this matter down in the comment section below. While you're at it, why don't you subscribe to Stuff We Play for more great content like this? So with that, thank you very much for watching. Stay classy, and I will see you next time.